Well, let's get into Proverbs chapter 4 as we continue on in this book. As we begin, a couple things I wanted to talk about on this. There's a couple of quotes I found that kind of give some more ideas about the book of Proverbs I want to share with you. One of them is from the New Bible Dictionary by J.D. Douglas. When we're talking about wisdom, this chapter is going to have a lot about wisdom, just like the previous couple of them have as well. He said, like all Hebrew intellectual virtues, wisdom is intensely practical, not theoretical. Basically, wisdom is the art of being successful, of forming the correct plan to gain the desired results. Its seat is the heart, the center of moral and intellectual decision. Now, another quote I have, this is a little bit longer, from Ellis Rasmussen's An Introduction to the Old Testament and Its Teachings. He had a comment to say about the book of Proverbs as well. He said, the book of Proverbs in the Old Testament is the best sample of Hebrew wisdom literature, derived apparently from the experiences of the race, epitomized by wise men into brief rules for behavior. The book contains less material accredited to divine revelation and more attributed to human evaluations than the books by the prophets. As to Solomon's authorship of Proverbs, he is said in 1 Kings 4:33 to have spoken thousands of them, covering all facets of the relationships of nature, man, and God. Whether the extant proverbs in the Bible include all of them, and whether all that are attributed to him are really his, would be difficult to tell now. In any case, Proverbs chapters 1 through 9 are entitled Proverbs of Solomon. They are largely in the form of advice from a father to his son, but include also some long poems about wisdom, like chapter 8, wherein wisdom is personified and seems to be not an abstraction, but a personality, a member of the Godhead. Remember, wisdom is Sophia. It's feminine, basically, in these languages. Chapters 10 through 22 are appropriately entitled Proverbs of Solomon, for they contain only the formal pithy little poetic couplets that are by definition proverbs proper. From chapter 22:17 to the end of chapter 24, there are a variety of longer admonishments and maxims on matters moral and social. Chapters 25 through 29 also constitute a unit called Proverbs of Solomon. Chapter 30 is called the Words of Agur, and chapter 31, the Words of King Lemuel. So there's several people who have contributed to this book. Most of it is Solomon, historically at least, and so we're going to learn some more about this. But it's fascinating that wisdom is feminine, and in chapter 8, we're going to see this femininity be a personification of Godhead as well. So a lot of great things we get to learn from that. So let's get into verse 1. Hear, ye children, the instruction of a father, and attend to know understanding. So this is like a father-child situation, or more traditionally father-son relationship, but we could think father-child as well. Verse 2, for I give you good doctrine, forsake ye not my law. For I was my father's son, tender and only beloved in the sight of my mother. He taught me also and said unto me, let thine heart retain my words, keep my commandments, and live. Get wisdom, get understanding. Forget it not, neither decline from the words of my mouth. Forsake her not, and she shall preserve thee. Love her, and she shall keep thee. This is wisdom. Verse 7, wisdom is the principal thing. Therefore get wisdom, and with all thy getting, get understanding. Now, just a quick thought here. This is from a April conference report in 1961. It says, Theodore M. Burton, then assistant of the Council of the 12 Apostles, said, we must feed the spirit as well as the mind and as well as the body. I plead with our youth, get learning, and with all your getting, get understanding. Get learning of the spirit, get learning of the mind, get learning of the soul, and become a rounded man or a rounded woman, learned in all ways. For I testify to you this day that security, true security, comes from a knowledge of the divinity of Jesus Christ. This is the beginning of all learning and of all wisdom. This is the greatest knowledge, the greatest learning, the greatest comfort that men can have. If men have this knowledge in their hearts, they can withstand all the vicissitudes of life. So some really sage advice for us to think about, that learning is very, very important. Not just learning one thing, but learning a lot. Learning how to be healthier, learning how to be smarter, more intelligent, understanding the world around us, learning the spiritual things through books, through studying the scriptures, through understanding with the Holy Ghost. Those kinds of things are great. So it's important for us to keep improving ourselves. And the better we can improve ourselves, then the more we can accomplish the work that God has in store for us. So if you think about it, even from an economic standpoint, the more education you have, the more you're willing to learn, whether that's formal education or technical educations. You have more upward mobility economically if you keep learning. So if there's one skill you want to always focus on, other than, of course, knowing how to follow the Holy Ghost, it would be learn. Learn how to learn how to improve and better yourself. Okay, so let's get back into Proverbs 4. We're going to start with verse 8. Exalt her, wisdom, and she shall promote thee. She shall bring thee to honor when thou dost embrace her. She shall give to thine head an ornament of grace, a crown of glory shall she deliver to thee. Hear, O my son, and receive my sayings, and the years of thy life shall be many. I have taught thee in the way of wisdom. I have led thee in right paths. When thou goest, thy steps shall not be straitened. When thou runnest, thou shalt not stumble. So basically, I've taught you properly, and if you do what I have told you to do, you're going to have less problems. Verse 13, take fast hold of instruction. Let her not go. Keep her, for she is thy life. Now, it's funny that wisdom is personified as a woman, or in a feminine sense here, but I think a lot of these rules are really good to apply to a woman anyways. Taking care of a woman, realize she is valuable, she is important, she will bring things to your qualities to your life that will dramatically improve your life. So treat her well, I think, is a really good thing to think about in here. So verse 14, enter not into the path of the wicked, and go not in the way of evil men. Avoid it, pass not by it, turn from it, and pass away. So stay away from all the wickedness, stay away from those things. Verse 16, for they sleep not, except they have done mischief, and their sleep is taken away, unless they cause some to fall. For they eat the bread of wickedness, and drink the wine of violence. But the path of the just is as the shining light, that shineth more and more unto the perfect day. So verse 18 is really important for us to think about that. It contrasts with wickedness, which is darkness, sleeping, nighttime. That's when darkness is awake. That's when darkness does more things. So you need to be careful with that. If you follow the Spirit, follow the teachings of Christ, then you have light. And that light will continue to grow until it is perfected. So that is helping us. The more we study, the more we learn, the more we apply our faith, then our light will grow until it is perfected. So that's really important. Now, verse 19, the way of the wicked is darkness. They know not at what they stumble. Now, here's something that's really interesting about this metaphor of darkness and stumbling in the dark that's attributed to wickedness. In the Book of Mormon, Lehi, in the beginning of the Book of Mormon, he has a dream, and it's a very Arabic dream symbolically. But in there, he sees a mist of darkness, which represents sin and temptation, that distracts and confuses people from following the path of Christ. That's exactly here in verse 19 of Proverbs 4, what they're talking about. So there's some similarities in those analogies. Now, also with this, President Brigham Young once commented on these verses here. He said, the life of a Christian is said to be full of pain, tribulation, sorrow, and excruciating torments, of fightings without and fears within, of anxieties, despair, gloominess, and mourning. His path is supposed to be spread with snares and pitfalls and uncertainties. But this is a mistake, for the path of the just is as the shining light, that shineth more and more unto the perfect day. While the wicked is snared by the transgression of his lips, but the just shall come out of trouble. The faith I have embraced has given me light for darkness, ease for pain, joy and gladness for sorrow and mourning, certainty for uncertainty, hope for despair. That's in the Journal of Discourses, Volume 9, page 318. So his perspective is following these same lines of keeping the commandments, doing what's right, has enhanced my life, has helped me to have better things, have more opportunities, to have an easier life than a wicked person. So kind of going along with those same ideas. Okay, verse 20, my son, attend to my words, incline thine ear unto my sayings. So turn your ear so you can hear better, hear my sayings better. Verse 21, let them not depart from thine eyes, keep them in the midst of thine heart. For they are life unto those that find them, and health to all their flesh. Keep thy heart with all diligence, for out of it are the issues of life. Put away from thee a froward mouth, or a false or perverse mouth, and perverse lips put far from thee. Let thine eyes look right on, and let thine eyelids look straight before thee. Ponder the path of thy feet, and let all thy ways be established. Turn not to the right hand nor to the left. Remove thy foot from evil. So a lot of ideas of staying on the straight and narrow path. Move forward. Keep your focus forward. Keep walking in the path of Christ, basically is what it's talking about, which is really great. So some fun words of wisdom we get to learn in there, and let's jump over to the next one as we continue forward.